probably going to get some comments. You'll meet some of my crazy friends, right? All right. Hey, if you're coming in, if you're on LinkedIn, I probably can't see any of your comments. I'm going to circle back and get those. If you're on Facebook, it's probably more likely that I'll be able to answer your comments. Wait, whoops, LinkedIn says you're not approved. Okay, forget that. All right. So I'm not.
Bill, this is an interesting introduction. You gotta get right into it.
Okay, you're the model student here. I'm the coach. I know what I'm doing. You don't. All right, let's keep that straight. All right,
quiet, model student.
Yeah, yes, knock it off. No, this is the precursor to actually, starting the interview, because it takes a moment to get people on. You want to make sure. See, like right now we have zero viewers, right?
Right. You gotta.
All right. So we're live on Facebook and we're live on my YouTube, and we have now one person watching, and so now we can say hello. And if you're watching on YouTube, I probably can't see your comments right away, but I'm going to circle back and look at those after we get done with this. So any questions or comments that you might have, I will gladly get to those. And if you're watching on Facebook, then I could probably see your comments. But if you could put your name, because I'm not necessarily going to be able to see your name, so just tell us who you are in your comment, and if you have a question or a comment, that'll be great. So now we're going to do our introduction. And so if you don't know me, I'm Bill Patton, and I've been coaching for a while, and I'm the author of The Athlete-Centered Coach and Visual Training for Tennis. And Jenny here, my guest, Jenny Lee. Say hello, Jenny.
Hi.
Yes, that's good. She's fun. And Jenny here is the model student of sort of a interaction between the athlete-centered coaching and the visual training for tennis. And what we're going to do in this talk is we're not only going to maybe do a little coaching with Jenny, but we're also going to go through the time machine. So we're going to take her back to her high school playing. We're going to talk a little bit about her preparing to come back to the sport, and then what were her expectations before coming out for a lesson with myself. And so we're just going to walk through the timeline, and then we're also going to talk a little bit more about what are her current processes that she's going through. All right, so Jenny, how are you doing today?
Fantastic morning.
Okay, excellent. And tell us a little bit about you and where you grew up, and then where are you currently residing?
Sure. I'm Jenny. I started my tennis journey in high school in Deer Valley High School in Antioch. And now I live in California. And yes, I do live in California. Yeah. Anything else?
And now you're in?
Oh, now I'm in Boise, Idaho.
Yes.
Because I'm nomad during the pandemic. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I'm really happy that you have subjected yourself to this. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it. But, I think that also there's a lot to learn. People can learn a lot from the standpoint of being a tennis student, but also I think we're going to be teaching some coaches what it's like for the player experience. All right, so how would you characterize your time playing high school tennis? And what were some of the fun things? What were some of the challenges mentally and emotionally?
So high school tennis, I think that it's just context of the tennis player that I am. I played tennis in high school for a couple of years, and fast forward, it's been about 12 years since I stepped on the court. So it's totally been a time machine in the sense that when I step on the court today, I'm a totally different person than the tennis player that I was in high school. And going back to high school, now that I've started playing tennis again for about a couple of months now, I realized that in high school, I stepped on the court with a lot of baggage, right? A lot of baggage. I stepped on the court with actually a lot of shame around wondering if I had enough talent, a lot of shame around just feeling like I wasn't going to be athletic enough because I just kept comparing myself to other people who were better than me, who got better faster than me. So I carried that baggage with me on the court, and it showed.
And so how did that show? What were some of the things that happened because of the way you were feeling?
That's a good question. I think I was hard on myself. Tennis wasn't just something about fun and play, but it was, every shot was proving something. It was trying to prove that, hey, maybe I'm good enough. It was trying to prove that, hey, I can do this, So it added a lot of pressure into something that was supposed to be just for fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. So now you flash forward to the time you're thinking about, okay, I haven't played tennis for a while, and what drew you back to coming back to the sport?
Part of it was actually the pandemic and wanting to cultivate a hobby that I knew that I would have for a lifetime. It's a hobby that I actually share with some of my siblings. So it's like cultivating a hobby that I can spend time with my family with as well. Just adding more activity into my life, because I think naturally I'm a person that's really in my head. So I wanted to do more activities where I was less in my head and more in my body. So
awesome. All right. So now you're coming up on your first lesson with this, this weirdo, Bill Patton. So what were some of the things that you were imagining might happen, some expectations that you had as that was coming up? What did you think was going to happen?
That's a good question. I think that, my intention with starting a lesson this time was I wanted to make sure that I was starting off with good foundations and good habits from the start. I didn't want to, be on my own and build all of these bad habits and then have to unwork them later. So that was my intention with starting the lesson. And I think that at that point, I just tried not to think too much about it, because in a sense, I knew that if I thought too much about it, I would probably have let fear take over in a sense. What's going to come out on the court? Is Bill going to teach me something and I'm going to have a hard time picking it up fast? And how am I going to feel about that? So there was almost a sense that I was just trying to not think about things too much and try to be more in the moment.
I think that's good advice for anybody who might be coming up on tennis lessons. And it's a good approach, I think, to help break down the barrier of the fear of taking a tennis lesson, because there is some unknown that happens. I want
to add something. I think that the other thing that I thought that the lesson was more going to be about was that Bill, I was thinking that Bill was just going to be really technical, like do it like this, don't do it like that. So I thought that tennis lessons were going to be at least more like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. And so what was surprising? What was the first thing that surprised you as we got started that was like, hey, this isn't what I expected?
Bill really surprised me right away. And immediately I can tell that he was more about the mental game. He would pause me immediately when...
I'm right here.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking to you.
Yeah, me. That's me. I'm the Bill she's talking about. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yes. Oh, that Bill guy, man. Yeah. Okay.
Well, no, I'm talking to the audience.
Oh, fine.
I'm not talking to you. Okay. Anyways, the audience.
No, talk to me. They get to listen in on our conversation.
Okay, I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think I noticed what you were doing right away, because you would pause me. You'd stop the lesson. You'd be like, "Hold up, Jenny. What are you doing? I can tell you're thinking a little bit too much about this." So you really helped me just slow down and focus a little bit more about my mental game. And you got me to a state where I was a little bit more in the moment, because it's almost like you're like reeling me back to the present moment, because if I'm left to my own devices, I'm almost like going back to those old demons, right? So
okay,
yeah.
so would you say that you tend to kind of get stuck in the past and are trying to make up for past mistakes or something else in the past, sort of redeem yourself? Or are you more likely to be in a rush to get to the future and improve so fast that you have extremely high expectations that doom you? Is it
Both.
more one than the other? But do you do more one than the other? Because everybody does a little bit of
Oh, you're
both.
right.
But yeah,
I used to be more stuck in the past, but now I'm definitely more in the future. Yeah.
okay, all right. And so there's this rush to get better, right? And some people think that they can somehow make up for past mistakes, and so then that's bothering them, and so then each new mistake that's made then creates sort of this hopelessness that, oh no, I'm never going to be perfect. So now what does some of that overthinking look like? What kinds of things are going in your head when you're not in the right space?
I think that for me, it looks like I'm trying to anticipate something, or um, I'm trying to almost apply a lot of things at once. So suddenly I'm kind of overstimulated by a lot of different things going on. So I'm more here than I am in my body. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have like a little checklist in your mind of, okay, remember to do this, 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 or are you like, so you do that? You have like a checklist in your mind. Okay, turn
A little
your
bit.
shoulders, do the right, right, telling yourself what to do
Right.
internally. Okay.
And
Do you?
I think there's a lot of layers going on. It's like there's the checklist. There's also like self-consciousness around like what's Bill thinking, like how am I being perceived? Am I picking this up fast enough? There's so many different things going on. It's like
Right.
3 layers deep.
Well, I like to tell people that I have a pretty big empty space in my brain where nothing's happening. And so if you found out how much nothing is happening in there, then you would be less self-conscious. Yeah.
That's
Or,
great.
I'm thinking about myself. I'm not thinking about you. I'm having my own self-conscious moment.
Ooh, you
So,
know what a tennis student might be thinking? Like, at least this comes into my mind. I'm like, I wonder how Bill's evaluating my potential right now.
this happens all the time. And so I let people know, hey, I'm here to teach you. I'm not here to criticize you. So I'm not, it's all about finding out how can you start to play your best tennis and set you free to discover how you play. So then, I'm not over here criticizing your every move. And I'm also not seeing you as a conduit of my glory. I'm not living vicariously through you based on if you're going to win the US Open or not, right? So you don't have to necessarily get a big trophy to, boost me up. So on the other hand, I do live vicariously through the massive improvements of my players. So I do enjoy that tremendously, but it doesn't affect who I am and my own self-worth. All right. So now, so do you sometimes do a little bit of paralysis by analysis? Like you're thinking about, why did you miss that? And you don't know the answer. So then you're thinking so hard about that you can't hit the next shot.
I used to be more like that. Now I
Okay.
think I've gotten better at just not thinking too much about that. Yeah.
Okay. So what are some of the processes? What have been the helpful things, visually, mentally, kinesthetically, what are the things that have jived with you that help you to perform better and to learn faster?
A few things. I think one is trusting myself more. So trusting
yourself to do what?
Trusting myself to know what feels good and right. That if I do a little bit less thinking, that I can have a sense of what feels like the right shot. Another thing is I'm focused.
Wait, let me break in on that one for a second, because I would like to encourage you to frame it as trusting yourself to learn. Trust yourself to learn what you need to do in any situation. So if there's a shot that's giving you trouble, then just go, okay, I need to learn how to hit this shot back. So what do I need to do? What do I want to do? How do I, and feeling free to experiment, get it wrong, trial and error, succeed. And then when you succeed, to stop and say, okay, I can do that. I can do that again. So what was that next thing? Thanks for letting me break in there.
The next thing was, I lost it, Bill. I lost it.
It's all my fault. It's all my fault. You know what?
I gained it back. I got it back. Okay. I think the next thing was, earlier you talked about sometimes when we're future oriented, we think like 100 steps ahead, like what kind of tennis player I'm going to be in like a couple of months. Oops.
She's popular. Jenny's people. Lots of people want to talk to Jenny.
And guess who that was? Yeah. That was David, our other tennis.
Oh no way, David Crane. He doesn't know you're busy right now. That you're live. So shout out to David Crane, my good friend in Boise, Idaho, who has now sort of taken Jenny under his wing. But anyway, get on to your next point before we give any more attention to Crazy David.
Got it. So the next one is, earlier we talked about how sometimes we can get ahead of ourselves. Like think about like, what am I going to be like as a tennis player in a month from now or 10 months from now? But I think what's really helped me is I don't think about the future anymore. I just think about the next tiny little step. And a tiny little step that I can improve in the moment. So there's less about like, what is this going to look like? What am I going to do in 10 months? It's just like right now I can take a step or do this little mini correction, and that will help, and just focus on one thing at a time and one moment at a time, and no more future thinking.
Yeah. Well, and there's some ancient wisdom attached to that, because, they say the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Ooh. So, and so this is a really good thing. All the work gets done in the present. And then it's funny how then 10 months from now, then you're like, wow, look how far I've come. Mm-hmm. Right. But, it's really interesting how sometimes people try too hard to accelerate their advancement. And so I use an analogy of pouring a jug of water. So if you're in a big rush and you turn the jug straight up and down, then it goes glug, 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 and the air has to go up, and it actually slows things down. But if you turn and you pour it at exactly the place where the air can still exit, then you can pour it out more quickly, but it's just very measured and momentary. So, all right, any other wisdom in terms of your process? You wrote something I thought that was really awesome that I'm going to include in the athlete-centered coach, because I think it's great to hear a student's perspective on, how they're changing their mindset. So you're moving towards what?
I think third, and to the final thing to end is that it should be fun, and it's all about having fun. And the moment you're not having fun, there's probably something else going on that should be addressed.
That's a great point. And so what does that look like? How do you know when it's not fun?
When you're getting frustrated, when other emotions are coming up, because when you're having fun, you're not going to get frustrated. You're not going to beat yourself up, So I think having fun is the mode where you know that you're in the right state of mind.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so if we go back to our initial lessons, what did we do? We started with stuff that was really easy. And then here we were rallying, right? We were already playing tennis before we did anything really technical. So did that make a difference for you? I mean, what that we did it that way instead of, okay, let's break down your forehand. Here are all the pieces of a forehand, and now let's assemble them like a 747.
Right. Yeah, that really helped get me into the right state of mind. Yeah.
Okay, and so when was the first moment that we got on court and you were like, okay, this is different, but I like it?
Probably the first moment you stopped me and was just like, what are you thinking about? I see you thinking over there. What you thinking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because it's on your face. I can see it on your face, because when people's faces change when they're really thinking, and then when they're not, when they're just in the flow of the moment, then their face muscles sort of just relax.
Uh-huh. Oh, I have another moment that I really liked, and it was kind of the moment when I realized that lessons with you felt like therapy, and it felt like it felt like I was healing from my past in a way. And the moment came when I was helping you pick up balls, and I was always trying to be helpful, and then you're like, Jenny, can you stop it? Like. Can you stop? Like you don't need to always anticipate and try to be helpful all the time. I got this. Like I can, I got it. Okay. And I was just like, whoa.
Yeah, because the mower works really hard for us, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it is interesting how, and some people are more wired to be conscientious helpers. And then because of that, then it's not as easy for them to be helped because they are the ones who do the helping.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa. The people who are, who want everyone to serve them, are less likely to go out of their way to serve others. So we have to find a balance there.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, there's a little bit of a neurosis of trying too hard at times. And, I often tell the story of the student who comes to the master and says, "Master, how long until I can become a master like you?" And the master says, 10 years. And then the student says, "But I'll try twice as hard and I'll do twice as many hours of the activities." And so then the master says, "Okay, 20 years." Right? Because there's only so much that can be done, and the trying too hard creates a resistance, a friction that gets in the way of actually learning. All right. So, is there anything else that you would like to share with the people watching that they need to know so they can have a better experience in coaching or teaching or learning, that they can learn from your experience? And where are you headed? Where are you headed?
You mean location wise?
Now, where are you headed in your tennis? What are you feeling is going to be the ultimate outcome of you becoming the player that you're meant to be?
Right. I think that another thing that I'd like to share is just that, I think the answer to that question is I'm allowing it to unfold, and I don't know the answer to that yet, but I'd like to let things unfold and see where things go. Because when I first took a lesson with you, I really just wanted to get my foundation straight. I wasn't even thinking about playing a match or anything like that. Now I'm thinking about playing matches. And I'd like to see how that unfolds. But it is going to be a lifelong hobby for me. And that's all I know for now.
Yeah. Well, I think you have pretty big upside, and I think you're going to be really good. And about 5 years from now, you're going to be really shocked at how good you are.
Thanks, Bo.
Yeah.
Thanks for believing.
Well, yeah, and then here's another little pet expression I have. If I'm the only one who believes in you, we only have half the people we need. So yeah, I mean it is. It's important for you to believe in yourself, not that you're gonna have, you're gonna have grandiose visions of I'm gonna play the US Open, but just believing that you can maximize your potential and do have a lot of fun with it and continue to learn and grow with it, as quickly as you'll allow yourself. So
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you had to summarize our little talk here, what would be one or two or maybe three things that you would like people to take home from this here talk? And it has nothing to do with me either. So it's all about Jenny. What is Jenny learning?
Well,
Yeah.
Tennis is a medium where you can experience healing and therapy and meditation. Two, focus on the next tiny step. Don't think too much in the past. Don't think too much in the future. Just don't think at all.
Well, anyway, moving on. Yeah, there's anyway, move. So, and number three.
And number three, have fun.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, thank you for being my guest today, model student Jenny Lee, and enjoy your time in Boise, Idaho. Can't wait until you come back to the Bay Area, and we'll get back to work again. But thank you, and say goodbye.
Bye.